Have you felt it? That quiet, persistent hum of unease just beneath the surface of daily life. It's there when you're filling up your gas tank, watching the numbers climb faster than your heart rate on a morning jog. It's there in the grocery aisle when the price of a carton of eggs makes you pause and do a double take. It's in the headlines that flash across your screen, a chaotic symphony of crises and reassurances that somehow contradict each other, leaving you with a strange sense of vertigo. Something isn't right. The systems we were taught to trust, the steady hand of the economy, the impartiality of the news, the institutions that formed the bedrock of our parents' world, they don't feel solid anymore, do they? Prices rise like a fever, while truth seems to fade like a dream upon waking. And yet, the official narrative, the one beamed into our homes and phones, insists that everything is fine, just a little turbulence on an otherwise smooth flight. But it's not fine. And what I am about to share with you is not a fringe theory or a wild conjecture. It is a message that far too many people are too afraid to say out loud, a truth whispered in worried phone calls between family members and anxious conversations over coffee. Because right now, the world you were encouraged to trust, the very framework built to protect you, is already failing you. If you are listening to this, I need you to make a promise to yourself. Don't skip a single part of what I'm about to say. Every piece connects, every idea builds upon the last. If you miss one link in this chain, you will miss the entire picture, the actual truth they have worked so diligently to hide, and the real reason the mainstream media will never touch this story with a 10-foot pole. I am going to unveil 4 hidden truths that are quietly reshaping every aspect of your life. And the 4th one, the final piece of this puzzle, is the most serious, the darkest, and the most life-altering truth of all. No one should miss it. It matters to your life, starting from this very moment. I urge you to stay with me until the very end, because I will not leave you in the dark. I will also show you how to protect yourself, how to prepare before the time to do so runs out. Before I reveal the first hidden truth they are hiding from all of us today, I want to create a map of awareness. Tell me where you're listening from right now. Which city, which state? Drop it in the comments below. You might already be feeling the tremors of what I'm about to reveal in your own community, and sharing your location will help others see they are not alone in this. While you're there, please do me a favor and hit the like button. It's a small click for you, but it tells the algorithm that this conversation is important, helping more people find this critical message. It's time people start seeing what's really happening around them. And please, don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you never miss the vital information I share. What I'm revealing today is just the beginning. It will continue to unfold in the coming weeks, and I don't want you to be left behind in the confusion. If you're with me on this journey, type "I'm with you" in the comments. I want to see how many of you are truly ready to hear what needs to be said. Let's begin with the first truth, the foundational crack in the world we thought we knew. The world you trust is already failing you. Here is the part they will never admit on the evening news. The systems designed to serve you are no longer built for your well-being. They are now built for control. Look at the stark reality, not the polished narrative. Consider the average American senior in states like Florida or Arizona who worked diligently for 40 or 50 years, contributing to Social Security, saving in a 401k, playing by all the rules. They were promised a golden age of retirement, a time of peace and security. Yet today, millions of them cannot retire comfortably without a gnawing fear of outliving their savings, of a single medical emergency wiping out a lifetime of work. The dollar you saved in the year 2000 has lost more than 40% of its purchasing power today. That isn't an accident. It's a feature of a system that quietly transfers wealth upward through inflation. Think about the information you consume. Unseen algorithms, complex lines of code written in Silicon Valley, now decide what you see, who you should trust, what you should buy, and even what you are permitted to believe. They create bubbles of reality so thick that two neighbors living on the same street can inhabit entirely different mental worlds. And the media? It's no longer in the business of information. It's in the business of performance. They call it news. I call it narrative management. It's a carefully curated show designed to keep you emotional, divided, and distracted. If you think this doesn't affect you personally, I assure you it already does. Every invisible algorithm that curates your newsfeed, every distorted headline that shapes your opinion, every complex policy written in the halls of Washington, D.C., in rooms you will never enter, they all converge to shape the life you wake up to each morning. The unspoken truth is that trust is the new currency, and the old systems are bankrupting it at an alarming rate. If you have ever felt like the world changed too fast, that what once felt safe and predictable now feels uncertain and chaotic, I want you to know you are not alone. You are not crazy. Millions of people feel the exact same confusion. Last month, during a trip through the Midwest, I met an elderly couple in a small town in Michigan. Let's call them David and Mary. They had spent their lives in that town. David worked at the local auto parts factory for 42 years. Mary was a school teacher. They told me with a quiet dignity that was heartbreaking, "We did everything right. We worked hard, we saved, we raised our kids to be good citizens, we trusted the system, but somehow we're still struggling to keep our heads above water." And I told them the same thing I will tell you now. It is not your fault. The game was rigged. The system is faltering not because you failed it, but because it was never designed to sustain its promises to you indefinitely. You weren't meant to see the cracks until it was far too late to do anything about them. But here is the critical part. You still have time. You still have time to prepare, to build resilience, and I will show you how by the end of this message. Right now, more seniors, more families, more young people are falling into a silent anxiety than ever before. Not because they lack effort or intelligence, but because they were never told the full story. And the hardest truth of all, the people in charge know this. They know most people won't question the official story, that most won't prepare for a future that looks different from the past. And that is precisely why they keep the truth quiet. But I believe that silence is complicity. So if you have been silent, it is time to start speaking, if only to yourself. Start by reclaiming your own mind. Every morning, write down one conviction, one truth you still believe in, on a simple piece of paper. That is how you begin to strengthen your clarity in a sea of noise. It's why I often talk about using a tool like the 31-day Daily High Impact Planner. It isn't about organizing your schedule. It's about organizing your thoughts. It's about focus. Every morning, I write down one truth I refuse to forget. Every night, I write down one lesson the day revealed to me. If you want to begin preparing, start right there with your own mind, because clarity always precedes strength. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but if everything is really falling apart, what can we possibly do? And my honest answer is this. First, you must wake up completely. Second, for those who believe, you pray. Because even in the midst of chaos, the fundamental truths of life, of faith, of human connection have not changed. And those who learn to think clearly again, who act decisively based on principles, and who stay grounded in unshakable truth will endure what others, caught in the storm of confusion, will not. Remember, this first truth is just the beginning. There are still 3 more they are hiding, and each one digs deeper into the heart of what is truly happening. The second truth will shake the very foundation of what you consider to be security. And the fourth truth will unsettle you because it reveals that almost everything you've been told about safety is a lie. Stay with me. don't look away. Because by the time I reveal that fourth hidden truth, you will see exactly why the media refuses to discuss it and what is truly coming next for every single one of us. If you are still with me, comment below, "I'm listening," or "I'm awake." Let's see how many people are truly paying attention. When I said the world you trust is already failing you, I meant every word. But it goes deeper, far deeper, because what comes next is a psychological shift so profound that most people can't even bring themselves to admit it's happening. Almost everything you have been told about safety is a lie. This is the second hidden truth they are not telling you, and I need you to listen with intense focus right now. Do not skip this section. Do not look away. What I am about to say connects directly to your freedom and what is coming next. If you miss this piece, you will miss the fundamental warning that could save you and your family years of regret later on. For decades, you have been conditioned to believe that safety means protection, that the word safe is synonymous with secure. But here is the uncomfortable truth. In today's world, safety no longer means protection. It means permission. You see, the modern systems of control have masterfully redefined the word without ever announcing the change. What used to mean freedom from harm has quietly, insidiously been twisted into freedom with conditions. And those conditions, like invisible fences, are tightening around every one of us, silently and steadily. Think about it. Every major change in society that has taken away a piece of your autonomy or privacy was first justified and sold to you in the name of safety. When they monitor what you buy online with your credit card, they say it's to protect you from fraud. When they digitize and centralize your private medical records, they claim it's for your safety and convenience. When the smart devices in your home listen to your conversations and your phone tracks your every movement through its global positioning system, or GPS, they assure you it's all to keep you safe. But safety without freedom is not safety. It is a gilded cage. It is dependency. And dependency is how freedom quietly dies. Not with a bang, but with the quiet click of an "I agree" button. A few months ago, a man from Ohio wrote to me, a gentleman in his late 50s who had worked in logistics his entire life. He said, "I've spent my whole life believing I was safe because I followed the rules. I trusted what I read in the papers, what I was told on the news, what I saw happening around me. But now, it feels like everything around me is being decided for me, even what I'm allowed to think and say." He is absolutely right. That feeling is not paranoia. It is perception. What he is describing is not safety. It is a form of soft control, a system of management so sophisticated that it's designed to feel comfortable and convenient right up until it isn't. Across the United States, in Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia, the same silent shift is happening. Systems that once existed to serve you are now actively surveilling you. The very same applications on your phone that connect you to your loved ones also meticulously collect every habit, every location, and every purchase you make. Every tap, every click, every yes is another brick in the wall of a digital version of you, a profile that others own and control. And once they know everything about you, once they can predict your behavior better than you can, they don't need to take your freedom away with force. They can just quietly limit your choices, guiding you down pre-approved paths while giving you the illusion of free will. This is why the media will never touch this subject in a meaningful way. Comfort sells, fear sells, but the hard truth about the erosion of liberty, that gets buried under an avalanche of distractions. And this isn't speculation. It's the documented reality of our time. There is a hidden economy, a multi-trillion-dollar marketplace built entirely on your personal data, a place where your behavior is bought and sold like a commodity.
And the most frightening part is that the safer and more convenient your world feels, the more of yourself you are giving away. They have successfully weaponized your desire for safety, turning it into your greatest weakness. But here is something most people in power will never tell you. True safety was never meant to come from external systems.
It was meant to come from internal wisdom, from personal awareness, and from diligent preparation. That's why I constantly tell people to start reclaiming your independence by first reclaiming your attention. Stop letting glowing screens decide what you should care about each day. Start using your time deliberately with intention. If you have that 31-day daily high-impact planner I mentioned, write this down tonight before you go to sleep. Today, I took one action that made me safer, not by depending on a system, but by preparing myself. That is how real transformation begins. It doesn't start by waiting for systems to protect you. It starts by you taking your own first sovereign step. You see, every generation before us thought they were safe, right up until the moment the world changed. But this change is different. It is invisible. It is digital. It is moving at an exponential speed. And it is coming for everyone, especially for those who still cling to the comforting belief that someone else, somewhere in an office tower or a government building, is watching out for them. So I will ask you, and I want you to be honest with yourself. Who do you truly trust with your safety today? Your smartphone? The same institutions that assured us everything was under control right before every major financial crisis of the last century? When was the last time you truly questioned what the word safe really means? Drop your answer in the comments. Share your thoughts. Just writing, "I'm rethinking safety," or "I've seen the change," is a powerful act of declaration. This conversation matters more than you know. You matter. Now, I don't say any of this to scare you. Fear paralyzes. I say it because truth, when combined with awareness, becomes power. Every illusion of safety gives people a reason not to prepare, a reason to stay complacent. And that is why so many are completely blindsided when systems finally buckle under their own weight. That collapse isn't some distant event years away. It is unfolding quietly, piece by piece, in your newsfeed, in your savings account, and in your digital life. If you are not actively preparing, you are by default depending. You still have time, but not an infinite amount. There is a reason this message found you at this exact moment. Because once you understand how deeply the concept of safety has been redefined, you will begin to see a pattern in everything. And that pattern leads directly to the fourth hidden truth I will reveal later. It is the most concerning, the darkest truth of all, and it is already affecting millions of people as we speak. It is the truth that no one in the mainstream dares to report, the one that could reshape everything you know about freedom, work, and survival. That is why you cannot miss what is coming next. And that is why you cannot stop listening now. Before we go deeper, take a moment. Ask yourself, if everything I was told about safety was wrong, what else could be? Because the third truth, the one that's coming next, will expose exactly how and why the majority will be utterly shocked when the next phase of this transition hits. And by the time we reach that final, buried truth, you will understand what is really coming, why the media won't touch it, and how you can protect yourself and those you love. But for now, remember this. Safety that costs you your freedom isn't safety, it is surrender. And the time to prepare is running out. So stay with me, do not skip ahead, and do not turn away. Everything I am about to share connects directly to what you just heard. When you see the full picture, you will understand why silence is no longer an option. Share your comment below before you forget. I choose awareness, or no more blind trust. And if you haven't already, use your planner or a simple notebook tonight. Write down one truth you refuse to ignore from this day forward. Because tomorrow, the world you thought was safe will look very, very different. Most people think they still have time. They believe that the way things are is the way they will continue to be, perhaps with minor interruptions. They are mistaken. The third hidden truth is already unfolding, quietly and relentlessly, and the vast majority of people will be profoundly shocked when its effects become undeniable. This is because the very systems we depend on for stability are changing faster than anyone is preparing for. You've heard me talk about how trust has been eroded and how safety has been redefined. This goes even deeper. What is coming next will reveal just how fragile the world beneath our veneer of comfort really is. Every promise of technological progress hides a trade-off, and we are about to pay the bill for a century of convenience. Automation was supposed to make life easier, to free humanity for lives of leisure and creativity. Instead, it is erasing millions of jobs at a pace that is accelerating beyond our capacity to replace them. Artificial intelligence, or AI, now writes articles, designs buildings, diagnoses diseases, and makes strategic decisions. Entire careers that once seemed stable, like truck driving, accounting, manufacturing, and even paralegal work, are disappearing before people even realize what is happening. And yet, the media overwhelmingly frames this as innovation. They celebrate the convenience of a world without friction, but rarely ask the question that matters most. What happens to everyone left behind? In the United States alone, some economists from institutions like the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, often called MIT, estimate that more than half of the tasks currently performed by humans could be automated within the next decade. Similar projections echo across Canada, the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. It's the same pattern, met with the same official silence. When work disappears, identity follows. People don't just lose an income, they lose their purpose, their structure, their sense of contribution. Communities that were built around a specific industry, like the steel towns of Pennsylvania or the manufacturing hubs of Ohio, begin to fracture. Families feel the strain first, but the headlines on the national news, well, they move on by morning. Why? Because it is far easier to sell the excitement of a new app than it is to confront the human consequence of systemic displacement. Now, combine that silent, gathering storm with a second one, debt. To survive these seismic shifts, to maintain the illusion of a middle-class life, people borrow more, spend more, and depend more on credit. The global debt mountain has climbed past an almost incomprehensible $300 trillion. That is not a typo. $300 trillion. And the interest on that debt is consuming the futures of generations before they are even lived. Think about this for a moment. Every major economic crash in history has started with ordinary people believing that someone else, some expert in a high-rise building, will fix the problem. But no one is fixing it. They are merely managing the illusion, kicking the can down a road that is rapidly running out. I need to stay with me here because this is where it connects directly to your own life. Ask yourself this critical question. If traditional work is being automated and the money we use is steadily losing its meaning and value, what then becomes the true measure of value in this new world? The answer is attention, data, and compliance. Those who control those three things will own the new economy. That is the part no one is ready for. That is the truth the media will not touch. Every click you make, every I agree you consent to, every second you spend staring at a screen is feeding the new currency. The longer you scroll, the richer the system gets, and the more invisible the transaction becomes. Your data is used to predict you. Your attention is used to fund the system. And your quiet, unquestioning compliance is what sustains it all. This is the hidden architecture of modern control, built not on the overt force of a police state, but on the subtle, numbing power of fatigue and distraction. In London, I spoke with a retired teacher who told me she felt safe from all this because she barely uses social media. Then she learned that her private healthcare records, her online shopping history from her favorite department store, and her travel data from her last vacation were all being bought, sold, and analyzed by data brokerage companies she had never even heard of. She told me, her voice trembling slightly, "I thought my privacy was my right. It used to be. Now it is a product. And when fundamental rights become products, only those who can afford them will have them." So what happens when automation removes income, debt removes options, and pervasive surveillance removes privacy? People begin to trade what's left of their freedom for a feeling of security and convenience. That is the next great threshold we are approaching. It is already visible in small ways. The push for digital IDs, the development of smart cities that monitor everything, the rise of subscription-based living where you own nothing and are happy. Everything will be connected, but nothing will be truly yours. Most people will not notice this transition until dependence feels completely normal. Then the switch will flip from freedom of choice to permission to exist. That is the moment I am warning you about. That is the moment the majority will be shocked. They will be shocked when they realize the job they trusted is gone, the savings they counted on have evaporated, and the privacy they assumed was a given has vanished, not through a sudden dramatic disaster, but through a slow, methodical, and deliberate design. And it is happening everywhere. From Los Angeles to Toronto, from Sydney to Manchester, from Oakland to Auckland. Different countries, same unmistakable direction. People sense something is profoundly off, but they cannot quite name it. That manufactured confusion is a crucial part of the plan. Before you scroll away, just pause. Ask yourself this. What am I doing today that future generations might look back on and call surrender? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm waking up. I'm not surrendering. Because awareness is the first and most powerful act of resistance. You still have power, but only if you choose to use it deliberately. That's why I keep bringing up a simple tool like the 31-day daily high-impact planner. It's not about the paper, it's about the act of becoming present in your own life. Write this down tonight. I decide what I give my attention to, because your attention is the last great frontier of your freedom.
Let me show you a pattern you may not have noticed. Each major global shift in power and technology starts with a promise, peaks with immense profit for a few, and ends with control over the many. It happened with the energy industry. It happened with the communication industry. And now it is happening with intelligence itself. Artificial intelligence is not just learning to do tasks. It is learning to predict not just what we will do, but who we will become. The algorithms are no longer just asking what you want. They are actively shaping it. This is not science fiction. This is the explicit business strategy of every major tech company competing for your screen time. They are not competing for your time. They are competing for your future behavior. Once they can accurately forecast it, they can put a price on it. Once they can price it, they can sell it to the highest bidder. And when human behavior becomes a commercial product, humanity itself risks becoming inventory. That is the truth most people will not see coming. So listen carefully, because the next truth, the final one I will share with you, is far more serious. It is the point where all of these powerful forces, economic, technological, and social, converge.
It is the truth that the world's most powerful institutions cannot afford for you to understand. Because once you do, the entire illusion breaks. But you will see it if you stay alert. You will feel it in the small inconveniences that suddenly become permanent rules. You will notice it when temporary measures never seem to end. I know this feels heavy. It should. But heavy does not mean hopeless. You can still prepare. You can still protect what matters most. Start with awareness, then move to action. Teach the next generation not to outsource their thinking to a machine. Because truth is not something that is given to you, it is something that must be guarded. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm protecting my future, or I see the pattern. Your words just might be the wake-up call that someone else desperately needs to read tonight. And remember, every day you delay your own awareness, the systems grow stronger. Every day you reclaim your focus, they grow weaker. So keep listening, because the next revelation explains why millions are already feeling the direct impact of this shift, and why the time to prepare is closing faster than anyone realizes. The majority will be shocked when it hits, but you will not be. So listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is not a prediction. It is an observation of what is already unfolding. You can see it for yourself if you just stop scrolling for 5 seconds and actually look around your own life, your own community. This is the fourth hidden truth, the one that is so direct and personal that most people cannot bring themselves to face it. It is this: the collapse isn't some abstract event coming someday in the distant future. It is coming for you, for me, for everyone we love, personally. For years, we have been conditioned to talk about global problems as if they belong to someone else. Climate change, sovereign debt, AI replacing jobs, privacy erosion. They are phrases thrown around like background noise in a chaotic world. But here is the truth that the media rarely frames in this way. All of it, every single one of these macro crises, eventually converges on the individual. It converges on you. When automation erases 1 million jobs from the economy, it does not just hit a national statistic. It hits your neighbor's savings account. It hits your children's sense of purpose. It hits your own identity and feeling of worth. When the cost of housing and healthcare spiral upward into the stratosphere, it is not just a headline about market trends. It is your retirement dream evaporating before your eyes. When the electrical grid strains under a summer heat wave and rolling blackouts begin, it is not an abstract infrastructure problem. It is the air conditioner that keeps your elderly mother alive in July. That is the reckoning. It is not a singular, dramatic explosion, but a slow, quiet unraveling that enters your living room disguised as a series of escalating inconveniences. Most news outlets don't linger on that personal reality, because personal consequences don't fit neatly into a 15-second news segment. They prefer stories that have a clear beginning and end. But life doesn't unravel neatly. It unravels gradually, and then it unravels suddenly. Have you noticed how every essential system now depends on another system that is itself already failing? Our global supply chains depend on a stable climate. Our healthcare system depends on an affordable and reliable power grid. Our digital security depends on attention spans that are being deliberately fractured and shortened by the day. The pattern is hidden in plain sight. It is fragility stacked upon fragility. Ask yourself a serious question. When was the last time you went a full 24 hours without depending on a screen, a satellite, or a distant database for something essential? And what happens if even one of those invisible threads snaps? Would you know what to do? The honest answer for most people is no. That is the blindness I am talking about. Share your comment right now and be brutally honest. If the systems you rely on vanished for 1 week, what is the first thing you would lose? Your comfort or your control?
Every choice our society has made for the sake of convenience has been a trade, and we have traded resilience for comfort. We have brilliantly engineered a world where nearly everything that makes our lives easier also makes our entire civilization more fragile. That is not fear-mongering. It is a simple observation of physics, economics, and biology combined. Look at the data. In the United States, the average household savings could cover less than 1 month of essential expenses. In the United Kingdom and Australia, household debt is hovering near record highs. In Canada and New Zealand, the cost of living crises have pushed thousands of families from the stability of the middle class to the brink of poverty in less than a year. These are not just statistics on a chart. They are stress signals from the system itself, blinking red alerts that we have been taught to ignore. And yet, we scroll, we post, we reassure ourselves that someone else, some smarter person in a position of power, will eventually fix it. That is why this message found you. Because maybe, just maybe, you are one of the few who still listens past the headline, who feels that deep intuitive sense that the reassurances are hollow. Here is what I have learned from speaking with thousands of people. Ignorance feels safe, right up until the moment it costs you everything. Many seniors tell me they sense the world has changed faster than they can keep up. They are correct. Technology now accelerates exponentially, while our social and emotional adaptation lags far behind. That gap between technological speed and human adaptation widens with every passing day. And that gap is where anxiety, division, and manipulation breed. It is also where the truth hides. This is why I always remind you to use a tool, even a simple one like the 31-day daily high-impact planner. Use it not just as a productivity tool, but as a clarity tool. Each morning, write down one question that keeps you awake at night. Each evening, write down one small, tangible action you can take to strengthen your independence. Because preparation starts in the mind long before it ever reaches your hands or your home. The reckoning is personal because the solutions must also be personal. No viral movement or political savior will shield your household from the consequences if you are not mentally, spiritually, and practically ready.
So ask yourself, do you know where your information truly comes from? Do you understand your own personal finances better than you understand your social media feed? Are you actively nurturing relationships with people that would stand strong if the Wi-Fi suddenly disappeared for good? Write your answers in the comments. You might just inspire someone else who is still teetering on the fence between awareness and denial. Here is the final piece for you to understand. Every generation has faced its own turning points, but this one is fundamentally different for one reason. Every critical system now runs on code and current. When either of those fails, everything else pauses. The next major blackout or large-scale cyber breach will not just darken our screens. It could silence hospitals, traffic lights, and bank transfers. That is not science fiction. It has already happened on a regional scale multiple times in the last 5 years alone. The media frames each incident as an isolated event, a storm here, a hack there. But you must learn to connect the dots. The brownouts in California, the food shortages on shelves in the UK, the market volatility everywhere, they are not separate stories. They are the outline of a global pattern, a tightening feedback loop of interconnected fragility. And when that loop finally tightens to a breaking point, the shock will be intensely personal. You will see it in the faces of your loved ones when the credit card machine declines. You will feel it when a crucial medication shipment is delayed by weeks. You will experience it when a heat wave lasts just a little longer than the power grid can handle. That is why I said humanity is blind. We mistake comfort for stability and routine for safety. But both are illusions. Still, I do not tell you this to spread despair. I tell you this so you can prepare. Preparation is not the same as panic. Preparation is responsibility. It is wisdom in action. Start by mastering your focus in a world of distraction. Learn practical skills that do not depend entirely on a functioning power grid or internet connection. Growing some of your own food, basic home and auto repair, maintaining your physical fitness, achieving financial literacy. These simple acts are shields against fragility. And most importantly, reconnect with your faith, with your community, with your own sense of curiosity. Because when all the noise finally stops, what remains is who we are when no one is watching and no system is there to support us. You might ask, why isn't this message everywhere? Why isn't this on the nightly news? Because telling people they must take personal responsibility for their own resilience doesn't sell advertising. Hope sells, outrage sells, but self-reliance? That's hard work. So the networks skim over it, leaving people entertained, anxious, but ultimately unprepared. That's why you are hearing it here, because someone had to say it plainly. The next disruption will not knock politely at your door. If you have listened this far, it means you are part of the minority that still possesses the ability to pay attention. Hold on to that. It is your most valuable asset. Time is short, but awareness buys you the time that others will waste in denial. The fourth hidden truth is this: every global crisis eventually becomes a household crisis, and ignoring it does not make it go away. It only ensures that it arrives unannounced. Take the next few days seriously. Reevaluate your routines. Reconnect with the people you trust. Write it all down in your planner, on a napkin, anywhere. Because the choices you make now, in the quiet before the storm, will decide how hard the future hits. The world as you know it is shifting under your feet, but awareness turns shock into strategy. Now, before you leave, hit that like button so this message can reach others who still have time to prepare. Subscribe and turn on your notifications, because what I will share next goes even deeper into the season we are entering and how to navigate it with strength and grace. Most will stay asleep, but you don't have to. Check my playlist for more videos on these topics, and I will see you in the next one.